should know, the Browns have put up 40 points in a game 4 times this year, including last weekend's playoff game. The Chiefs have done it just once. The Browns have also scored at least 3 touchdowns in a quarter 5 times this season. The Chiefs have done that once. And Baker Mayfield has thrown 4 touchdown passes in a half twice this season. Patrick Mahomes has not done it a single time. So the explosive offense in this game, some of those numbers suggest it could be Cleveland. Of course, however, the key to beating Mahomes and the Chiefs historically has been to control the ground game. Mahomes has lost only 9 games in his NFL career, including playoffs, and in those, the opponents have averaged 35 rushes for 166 yards. So we see some of the numbers here. And RC, let me come to you on that. Do you believe, looking at all of that the Browns have the formula to get this done and knock out Mahomes in his own building?
You know what? When you come on, Greeny, and I say they have the formula, then people are going to be like, ooh, Ryan Clark said the Cleveland Browns are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not saying that, but they do have the formula. Around the midpoint of this season, when we started to watch Cleveland, it looked like they kind of had that Tennessee Titans 2019 feel, that type of flow, a dominant run game, a quarterback who's making plays in the pass game when he needs to. And that's exactly what the Cleveland Browns have this year. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, those are 2 top-tier running backs in the same backfield. And understand, Alex Van Pelt and Kevin Stefanski, they know that's where their offense needs to start, with that type of physicality. But it's been the ascension of Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield making the big plays when he needs to. Baker Mayfield selling out and getting a 3rd down, diving through 2 safeties from the Pittsburgh Steelers. That made me extremely sad, Greeny. This team definitely has what it takes offensively. They can keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, and I believe that Baker Mayfield can make enough plays with his arm. But when it's time to stop the Kansas City Chiefs, can this secondary, hopefully getting some pieces back, stop Patrick Mahomes from winning this game? That's what it'll come down to. Offensively, you have what it takes. Defensively, can you stand up?
Bart, one week ago this hour, you were the only person on this show to pick the Browns to beat the Steelers last week. How much confidence do you have in them to do it again? What's that?
Stop bringing up old stuff.
Stop bringing up old stuff.
That's old. That's last week.
So you had it right last week. Bart, do you have that same confidence in these Browns this weekend?
I mean, I do. I think that Mahomes is veteran enough to be able to win it, but I think this is going to be a close game. Listen, whenever you want to jump on a team, you have to jump on them early. Right. So, listen, sometimes some of the worst games that I've ever had as a team is when we had to bye, because you come out naturally flat where the opposing team has been in playoff mode for the last 3 weeks. If Cleveland gets off to a fast start, they're going to believe that they can win. Because, listen, this Chiefs defense is average at best. And when they get in trouble, when they feel like they can't stop anybody, what they do is they activate Tyrann Mathieu and they put him in a box. That is the time when Baker Mayfield says, hey, this is time for me to take my shot. You know, we talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the reason that their personnel is so difficult because they have the ability to put 2 tight ends on the field. Well, guess what? So do the Cleveland Browns have the ability to put 2 tight ends on the field at the same time, which limits your ability, 1, to get to the passer, but 2, it forces you to have to match up. Hooper, Njoku is going to be the key to this game because he complained early in the season, but he's become one of the best blocking tight ends in the game because he settled down and put his big boy pants on and said, guess what? They brought in a great player, and if we ball out, I'll go get paid somewhere else. But for right now, let's try and add some notches to my belt in playoff wins and success as a team.
All right, so Kimberly, you have been covering this Browns team now 3 weeks in a row. What are the players saying about this matchup?
That they don't care what anybody thinks, whether it's Juju, Chase Claypool, Sammy Watkins. You know, this team believes that they deserve to be here, not just, oh, they're lucky to be here. And I think that's a really good thing. Kevin Stefanski has this team believing in themselves, but focusing on themselves. It's not about what Kansas City does. And talking to defensive players in particular, the plan is not, they understand Patrick Mahomes is going to do what he does. You can't stop everything. They got too many weapons. You can't stop Kelsey and Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. You got to just do what works for you. You got to pick your spots, pick your poison on defense. And this secondary, I understand it's a big challenge, but they're confident. They're feeling good.
An interesting thought. And when you mentioned the ones doing the talking, it's Juju, it's Claypool, it's Watkins. It's always the wide receivers who have something to
Always
say.
the Steelers.
we
Win now. This is what counts. And I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come into this game confident. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers come into this game feeling that they are a different team. But make no mistake about it. If the Saints jump out on their head, if Tom Brady is on his backside, if interceptions are being thrown, the other two games will start to creep in. And when you hear a little noise playing in the Saints Stadium, when you hear the Superdome rocking through the speakers, that'll be what they do not want. So they have to start early, they have to protect Tom, and they have to create some big plays offensively so they can get comfortable and let that confidence continue to grow.
And then quickly on the other side, because Bart, we've barely even touched on the New Orleans offense side of this. They've been somewhat up and down this year. They've been led for the most part by their defense. We've seen Alvin Kamara obviously have the monster game a few weeks ago. What do you expect from that matchup when New Orleans has the ball against this Buccaneers D?
Well, I expect them to be confident because they feel like they have Todd Bowles dialed in, and Todd Bowles is going to have to switch some things up too. You can't be blitzing everybody, putting guys on islands. He doesn't have the lockdown corners. He doesn't have a Lattimore on that side of the ball. What he does have is a tremendous defensive line. That's what he's going to have to play to and say, hey, I'm going to keep everybody in front of me. I'm going to be physical at the line of scrimmage and throw the timing off. Because Drew Brees wants to get the ball out of his hand fast as well. But if you throw the timing off, Michael Thomas ain't running past nobody, and Emmanuel Sanders' best days are behind him. So you want to challenge those guys and not put your guys on the island and create opportunities for Drew Brees to put one up when he recognizes cover one.
I'll say it again. The combined ages of the two starting quarterbacks in this game is 85 years old. Brady is 43. Brees turns 42 today. They are obviously legends and first ballot Hall of Famers, and one of them will see his season end on Sunday night. All right, let's go on the clock and look at the other games this weekend. RC, who's the most important player on the field? Rams, Packers. 30 seconds. Go.
It's the replacement, Greeny. David Bakhtiari's replacement. His name is Billy Turner, but I don't want to call him by his name. What will you do? David Bakhtiari only averaged 2 pressures per game. Against the Chicago Bears, Billy Turner, 8 pressures and a sack. And now you're going up against the #1 defense in the NFL, a team that consistently puts pressure on your quarterback. And even Aaron Rodgers, when under pressure, is not Michael Jordan. He's not. He's whatever dude took. No, you don't even know the dude that took Michael Jordan's place. So it's imperative that you protect him.
That's a very good point. The next game is Ravens-Bills. Rob Gronkowski.